Okay, we are live.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. This is a special live stream that we're doing today. My name is Eric Bridges. I'm the Executive Director of the American Council of the Blind, and joining me is Tony Stevens, ACB's Development Director. Hi, Tony.
Hello, Eric, and hello, everybody listening and checking us out all over the place.
Yeah, we're live over our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, as well as in our Facebook community group. So welcome everybody. Come on in and hang out for a few minutes. Last week was an especially cool and crazy week inside ACB. And we thought that it would be fun to kind of just share the two or three items that happened last week that I believe, and Tony believes, are noteworthy. So little companies like Verizon and HBO and a publication called the Wall Street Journal, the American Council of the Blind was engaged with all of them last week. And in fact, two of them on Friday alone. Why don't we go through the first bit of news, which actually is quite large, and it's been a long time in the making. The announcement, the joint announcement between ACB and HBO Max regarding audio described content on HBO Max site and app. Pretty cool stuff, right, Tony? We've been working with streaming services for 5-6 years now,
Yeah.
and this is the latest announcement that ACB has been able to make.
And it really is a major step, I think, forward in terms of where a lot of the quality program, everyone's talking about how we're in a golden age of content, especially around the pandemic, because there's just so much stuff available and so many people are streaming now. But yeah, it's exciting that, HBO has sort of come to the table and is moving forward with some pretty impressive main, programs that they have offered over the years and existing current stuff that's going to be accessible finally for consumers who are blind and visually impaired, for audiences. So it's exciting.
Yeah. So as part of this announcement, it's 1,500 hours worth of described content on HBO Max, just sort of dropped out of the sky into HBO Max on Friday. But they're not done. Next year, there will be 3,000 hours, so double, and then a doubling again in 23 to 6,000 hours. So really good stuff. Many ways to procrastinate and be unproductive, but enjoy some entertainment. Notice that Sesame Street's mentioned on here, Tony. I've loved watching Sesame Street with description with my kids down through the years, and it's cool to see it in the HBO Max library.
And I think, not just because, the HBO content that a lot of folks think of, like Sopranos or The Wire. I live in Baltimore, so I'm excited for, if they're able to eventually get The Wire described. But, HBO is now part of the whole Warner Brothers. And so there's so much content for just the entertainment side of the whole Warner Brothers catalog and library that hopefully will begin to move its way towards being described and being accessible as well.
Absolutely, along with their commitment to do all original content with description. So a lot of cool stuff there. And, this is in line with the work that we did with Netflix in 2015 and Hulu and now HBO Max, but also don't want to forget about what Apple TV did, Apple TV Plus, when it premiered in 2019 with audio description, as well as Disney Plus. So there are myriad of ways for our community to plunk down a few shekels a month to get some great entertainment. So very cool. Why don't we move on next to one of the other things that hit on Friday, which was an article in the Wall Street Journal that talked about accessible paper currency in the UK and the 50 pound note being made accessible. And what that means for folks over there. But in addition to that, the reporter reached out to us for comments, since we are still experiencing inaccessible paper currency in this country, Tony.
It's been something we've been almost a generation fighting for, I mean, since 2002, when we first pushed out our suit, back when Charlie Crawford was wearing, your hat at ACB. And then we had the settlement in 2008, not settlement, but the decision came down from the court in 2008, from the appellate court. And, there was a lot of promise and a lot of opportunity. The idea that we would get maybe in 5 years, the first 10 note that would be accessible. But yeah, Treasury has just stalled and stalled and stalled. And, it's literally going through, it becoming a generational fight that we've been taking on. So, yeah.
It is extraordinarily unfortunate that that the government, and this is part of the challenge why people get frustrated with government. I mean, let's just be honest, whether it's the DMV or the IRS, the Department of Treasury, and unfortunately, in some instances, the judicial branch. It doesn't matter that we won. The government can find any number of excuses not to implement what it's been ordered to do, and it contrasts that with what the UK has been able to do over these last many years, to incorporate a tactile feature as part of the rollout of new redesigned denominations. And so here we sit with the greenback looking like the greenback has always looked, and it's extraordinarily frustrating, and it's something that we're going to continue to talk about, in particular with the news of the $20 bill potentially being redesigned with Harriet Tubman. And Tony, why don't you talk a little bit about that and what we've been doing here? Louis Braille and Harriet Tubman have a pretty cool, I think, history of parallels in certain ways.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, when we think tactile, we think, how Louis Braille, in a sense, broke down the barriers to literacy for people who are blind and visually impaired around the world, not just in France, when he was he was a teenager when he came up with the idea. And I mean, he was only, 13 years older than when, Harriet Tubman was born in the early 1820s. And so as she's learning how to walk, for what someday eventually would be, she would become famous for her footsteps that would liberate people. Louis Braille was working across the Atlantic really helping to, in a sense, free as well the institutionalization and the misconceptions in the world that it was for people who were blind in the 1820s in Europe and as well here in the United States. So, it's exciting. Initially we were supposed to be on the $10 because that was the next one slated to be produced by the U.S. government.
Correct.
Now there's conversations about releasing the Harriet Tubman $20 bill with her face adorning the $20 bill, which would be an amazing step forward in the sense of, advocates for equality and social justice and racial justice and equity. But also for us, because it's the opportunity for us to remind the Treasury as well that, hey, the currency needs to be accessible. And when you look at what's great about the WSJ article, we'd send it out in our dots and dashes, and check our tweets and our social media to find out more about that article. It does a great job to remind us, hey, other countries have already done this, right? I mean, this is not a super hard thing for our government to do, to make the currency accessible. Other countries like the United Kingdom and countries around the world, leading development that, developed countries around the world, and others have made their currency accessible. So what we need is the will. So our hope is that in our campaign that we're going to be pushing through in terms of this particular issue is how can we kindle that will within Department of Treasury and within our government so that we can finally move forward towards getting accessible currency. Because right now, there's no guarantee that they're saying 2026 might be the next time that they're slated when they could do this, but they keep moving the goalpost on us. It was 2013 and then it was 2020 and then now it's 2026. And there's no idea of when actually that might be set in stone. So we're hoping with the Tubman, we can finally begin to move forward with this issue that we've been fighting for a whole generation on.
Absolutely. The government can use any excuse and seemingly uh, get away with their excuse. And so being able to figure out ways to have this issue be more visible. And I think it's great putting Harriet Tubman on the 20. Let's do that, and let's also make it the first accessible paper note in this country's history, right? So,
Yeah. Yep.
very cool. And then finally, early last week, Verizon. Verizon Communications, which owns Verizon Media, and Verizon Media announced that they were going to be donating several million dollars in advertising space to nonprofits, national nonprofits that they know and have and are working with. And we were so excited and appreciative that the American Council of the Blind was named as one of those 6 organizations. And there's a lot more to come on that. But one of the really cool aspects of this donation is that we're going to be able to have access to to the whole community outside of just the blind community, and let folks that may not know who ACB is get to know us and the great work that we do. So in the coming weeks, we'll be talking about this more, but it's a great opportunity, don't you think?
It most definitely is. And I think it's really, at this point, I very much want to make sure that we, obviously thank Verizon Media. We've had a long relationship with Verizon, going all the way back to the CVAA when Eric, you were leading that coalition, you were part of the coalition of both nonprofits and corporations. And Verizon was alongside with us back then. And they've just been such a solid partner over the years. And we're thankful for them, in a sense, to have a sense of trust, to know that it's an investment for them to make this donation. In the matters that concern for people with disabilities, because we're one of going to be, a number of organizations that have a chance to benefit from this generous donation that they're going to be making through ad time. But it really helps in the sense of just strengthening our partnership with Verizon. So obviously we're very thankful for this gift and this opportunity, and we're looking forward to ways that we'll continue to work with Verizon. For instance, there's a great event that Clark Rockwell, our own director of advocacy, is having this week with Verizon, where they're leading about the social pandemic and the isolation and how it's really impacted people with disabilities. Verizon's listening to our community, and they want to help amplify the issues that matter most to people with disabilities. So if you get a chance, register for that event. I think we can probably post it in our comments, or we can have it, check out our social media feeds, where we'll have links to that event that you can check out. I think it's this Wednesday. But yeah, check it out, because it shows, along with this gift, how strong our relationship is with some of the corporations and how they can really help be partners in driving forward an agenda for greater inclusion and equity.
Yep. Collaboration is one of our 5 core values. And Verizon, along with several other corporate partners, have been excellent collaborators with us down through the years. Before we go, just wanted to also publicize our community events, and we'll post in here as well. Send an email to community@acb.org if you are interested in joining our community events email list. Every day you'll get an email in the morning that shows you the list of community calls for that day. It is a one-way list, so don't worry about email traffic. All of our calls are done utilizing Zoom and the Zoom platform, so tremendously accessible for folks to attend and participate. So please email community@acb.org and come with us. Come with us. Additionally, we have a club inside Clubhouse, so please search for us if you are in there, the American Council of the Blind or ACB. We're having a good time there. The community extends to Clubhouse. It is not It is not different. It's just an extension of the community platform that we have built up over this last year. So we're experiencing some real growth, both in the community calls as well as in Clubhouse, and we're excited. So please come with us, join us in the discussion. Tony, thanks so much for being here with me. And if you'd like to learn more about us as an organization, please feel free to visit www.acb.org. Loads of content on there, stuff to learn about, to share with others. And as always, everybody, keep advocating.